If your mind feels tired, scattered, or stuck in the same bad patterns, this audiobook is for you. In the next chapters, you will learn how to think more clearly, control your emotions under pressure, build discipline one day at a time, and make better choices that shape your future. This is not about empty motivation. It is about practical steps you can use today, even on hard days, to become stronger, calmer, and more focused. Stay with this all the way through, because each chapter builds on the last, and the change becomes real when you keep going. Take full responsibility for every thought you think. Most people spend years trying to change their circumstances while ignoring the place where every circumstance is first experienced, the mind. They want better results, better relationships, better finances, better health, and greater peace. Yet they continue to allow their thoughts to run without direction. They react to life instead of leading themselves through it. They blame situations, other people, bad luck, their past, or their environment. In doing so, they hand over the greatest power they possess, the power to choose how they think. The quality of your life is deeply connected to the quality of your thinking. This does not mean that every thought becomes reality overnight. It means that your thoughts influence your actions shape your habits create your character, and your character influences the direction of your life. The moment you accept responsibility for your thoughts, you stop being a passenger in your own life. You become the driver. Many people misunderstand responsibility. They think responsibility means blame. It does not. Responsibility means ownership. Blame focuses on the past. Responsibility focuses on what you can do now. You may not be responsible for everything that has happened to you. You did not choose every challenge, disappointment, mistake, or hardship. Life can be unfair. Difficult things happen to good people. Unexpected setbacks appear without warning. But you are responsible for what happens next. You are responsible for the meaning you give to events. You are responsible for the thoughts you repeat. You are responsible for the attitude you bring into each day. You are responsible for the actions you take after a setback. This realization can feel uncomfortable at first because it removes excuses. Yet it is also liberating because it returns power to your hands. Think about a person who constantly says, "My life would improve if people treated me better." That person has given away control. Another person says, "I cannot control how people treat me, but I can control my response." That person has reclaimed control. The difference between these two ways of thinking may seem small, but over months and years, it creates completely different lives. Every thought you entertain is either helping you or weakening you. Some thoughts encourage growth. Others create fear, doubt, resentment, and hesitation. Many people assume they have no control over their thoughts because thoughts appear automatically. It is true that thoughts often arise without invitation. However, what matters most is not the first thought that enters your mind. What matters is whether you choose to keep it there. Imagine a negative thought appears. "I am not good enough." The thought arrives. You have two options. You can accept it without question and repeat it throughout the day, or you can examine it. Is it true? What evidence supports it? What evidence challenges it? What would happen if I chose a different thought? The first option strengthens insecurity. The second option strengthens awareness. This is where mental freedom begins. A person who never questions their thoughts becomes controlled by them. A person who examines their thoughts gains influence over them. One of the most important skills you can develop is the ability to observe your thinking without immediately believing everything your mind says. Your mind is a tool. It is powerful. It is valuable. But it is not always accurate. People often assume that because they think something, it must be true. That assumption causes enormous suffering. A person feels nervous before speaking in public. Their mind says, "Everyone will judge me." They believe it. Fear grows stronger. Another person experiences the same nervousness. Their mind says, Everyone will judge me. But they question it. They recognize it as a fear, not a fact. They continue anyway. The situation is the same. The difference is the response to the thought. Taking responsibility for your thoughts requires awareness. Awareness is the ability to notice what is happening inside your mind. Most people move through their day on autopilot. They wake up. They check their phone. They rush through tasks. They react to problems. They repeat yesterday's mental habits. Days become weeks. Weeks become months. Months become years. Nothing changes because their thinking never changes. Growth begins when awareness increases. Start paying attention to your inner conversations. Notice how you speak to yourself. Notice the assumptions you make. Notice the stories you repeat. Many people speak to themselves in ways they would never speak to someone they love. They make one mistake and call themselves a failure. They experience one rejection and decide they are unworthy. They face one challenge and convince themselves they cannot succeed. This pattern damages confidence and limits growth. Self-respect begins with responsible thinking. Responsible thinking does not mean pretending everything is perfect. It does not mean ignoring problems. It means choosing thoughts that help you face reality effectively. Suppose you fail at something important. An irresponsible thought says, "I failed because I am incapable." A responsible thought says, "I failed because my approach was ineffective. What can I learn?" The first thought creates helplessness. The second thought creates improvement. One thought ends progress. The other begins progress. Your future is influenced by the questions you ask yourself. When something goes wrong, many people ask questions that make them weaker. Why does this always happen to me? Why am I so unlucky? Why can't I do anything right? A better approach is to ask stronger questions. What can I learn from this? What is within my control right now? What is the next useful step? How can this challenge make me stronger? If you constantly focus on problems, your attention becomes trapped in problems. If you focus on solutions, your attention begins finding opportunities. This does not mean ignoring difficulties. It means refusing to become mentally trapped by them. Many people underestimate the power of daily mental habits. Thoughts repeated often become beliefs. Beliefs influence behavior. Behavior shapes results. This process happens whether you notice it or not. A person repeatedly thinks, "I am not disciplined." Eventually, they begin acting like someone who lacks discipline. They avoid commitments. They quit early. They stop trusting themselves. The belief becomes stronger. Another person repeatedly thinks, "I am becoming more disciplined every day." They begin taking small actions that support that belief. They keep promises to themselves. They build trust. They strengthen confidence. The belief becomes stronger. Neither person transformed overnight. Both simply followed the direction of their repeated thinking. This is why guarding your mind is so important. You cannot allow every negative thought unlimited access to your attention. Not every thought deserves your belief. Not every fear deserves your energy. Not every doubt deserves your focus. Learning to redirect your thinking is a skill. Like any skill, it improves with practice. The first step is noticing. The second step is questioning. The third step is choosing. Notice the thought. Question its usefulness. Choose a better direction. Repeat this process consistently. At first, progress may seem slow. That is normal. Mental habits developed over years rarely disappear in a single day. Patience is essential. Imagine trying to strengthen your body after years of inactivity. You would not expect dramatic results immediately. You would understand that progress requires repetition. The same principle applies to the mind. Every time you choose a constructive thought over a destructive one, you strengthen mental discipline. Every time you respond calmly instead of reacting emotionally, you strengthen self-control. Every time you focus on solutions instead of complaints, you strengthen resilience. Another important part of taking responsibility for your thoughts is protecting your mental environment. Your mind is influenced by what you consume. The conversations you engage in, the content you watch, the people you spend time with, the information you absorb. If you surround yourself with constant negativity, fear, and criticism, maintaining a healthy mindset becomes much harder. Pay attention to what enters your mind each day. Ask yourself whether it is helping you grow or holding you back. Choose information that educates you. Choose conversations that encourage growth. Choose environments that support your values. Protecting your mind is not weakness, it is wisdom. Strong people understand that attention is valuable. They do not waste it carelessly. They direct it intentionally. One of the greatest benefits of taking responsibility for your thoughts is emotional freedom. Many people believe emotions control them. In reality, emotions are often influenced by repeated patterns of thinking. When you consistently focus on fear, anxiety increases. When you consistently focus on gratitude, appreciation grows. When you consistently focus on possibilities, hope expands. This does not mean you will never experience difficult emotions. You will. Everyone does. The goal is not emotional perfection. The goal is emotional leadership. You acknowledge emotions without allowing them to control every decision. You feel frustration without becoming destructive. You feel fear without becoming paralyzed. You feel disappointment without giving up. This ability becomes one of the greatest strengths a person can develop. Life becomes easier when you stop fighting reality and start managing your response to reality. The strongest people are not those who avoid difficulties. They are those who remain steady while facing difficulties. That steadiness begins in the mind. Every day presents a choice. You can allow circumstances to dictate your thinking, or you can choose your thinking despite circumstances. One path leads to helplessness. The other leads to growth. One path gives power away. The other builds power from within. The decision belongs to you. No one else can think your thoughts for you. No one else can manage your mindset for you. No one else can build your mental discipline for you. This responsibility is yours. And that is good news, because it means your future is not entirely dependent on external events. It means you possess influence. It means change is possible. It means growth is available. It means every day offers a new opportunity to think differently, act differently, and live differently. As you move forward, remember this simple truth. Your mind is the starting point of your world. The thoughts you repeatedly accept become the lens through which you see life. Choose them carefully. Question them honestly. Direct them intentionally. Take responsibility for every thought you think. When you do, you begin taking responsibility for the direction of your life. And when you learn to lead your mind, you place yourself on the path toward greater confidence, stronger character, deeper resilience, and lasting self-mastery. Chapter 2. Strengthen daily focus. By eliminating mental distractions. Every person is given the same 24 hours in a day, yet the results people achieve can be dramatically different. Some move steadily toward their goals, make progress on important work, and end each day with a sense of accomplishment. Others stay busy from morning until night, but feel as if nothing meaningful was completed. The difference is often not intelligence, talent, education, or opportunity. The difference is focus. Focus is one of the most valuable abilities a person can develop. It allows you to direct your energy toward what matters most, instead of scattering it across countless distractions. It helps you complete difficult tasks, learn new skills, solve problems, and make consistent progress. Without focus, even the best intentions struggle to become reality. Modern life constantly competes for your attention. Messages arrive every few minutes. Notifications appear on screens throughout the day. News updates demand immediate reactions. Entertainment is available at any moment. Opinions, advertisements, and endless streams of information fight for a place in your mind. Many people have become so accustomed to interruption that they no longer recognize how much it is costing them. Attention is a limited resource. Every time you give it away, you spend something valuable. Unlike money, attention cannot be earned back once it has been spent. A lost hour can never be recovered. A distracted afternoon cannot be repeated. This is why protecting your focus is one of the most important forms of self-respect. Many people believe their biggest challenge is a lack of time. In reality, their biggest challenge is often a lack of concentrated attention. They have enough hours available, but those hours are divided into small fragments. They begin one task, switch to another, check a message, browse information, return to work, become distracted again, and repeat the cycle throughout the day. At the end of the day, they feel exhausted without producing meaningful results. The mind performs best when it is allowed to remain on one important activity for an extended period. Great work rarely comes from constant interruption. Deep understanding requires concentration. Progress requires sustained effort. Excellence requires presence. Consider how often distractions enter your daily routine. Some come from the outside world. Others come from within. External distractions are easy to recognize. Phones ring, messages appear, conversations interrupt your attention, television plays in the background. Social media constantly invites engagement. Internal distractions are more subtle. Worry about the future, regret about the past, imagined arguments, fear of failure, doubt about your abilities. These mental interruptions often steal more focus than anything happening around you. A person may sit alone in a quiet room and still struggle to concentrate because their attention is trapped by unnecessary mental noise. This is why strengthening focus begins with awareness. Before you can eliminate distractions, you must identify them. Pay attention to what repeatedly pulls your mind away from meaningful work. Notice what causes you to lose momentum. Observe the habits that weaken your concentration. For 1 week, simply monitor your behavior. Notice when your attention drifts. Notice what triggers the distraction. Notice how much time disappears before you return to the task. This simple exercise can reveal patterns that have remained invisible for years. Many people discover that their distractions are not random. They occur during moments of discomfort. Difficult work requires effort. Challenging tasks demand concentration. Important projects carry uncertainty. Instead of facing that discomfort directly, the mind seeks something easier. Checking a message feels easier than solving a problem. Watching another video feels easier than starting a difficult task. Scrolling through information feels easier than making a decision. Distraction often becomes a form of avoidance. Understanding this truth changes everything. The goal is not merely to remove distractions. The goal is to build the ability to stay present when effort becomes uncomfortable. A focused person is not someone who never experiences distraction. A focused person is someone who notices the distraction and deliberately returns attention to what matters. This skill grows stronger through practice. One effective way to improve concentration is to reduce the number of decisions competing for your attention. Every decision consumes mental energy. When your day is filled with unnecessary choices, focus weakens. Create routines for important parts of your day. Decide in advance when you will work, exercise, learn, rest, and reflect. Structure reduces confusion. Clarity conserves mental energy. When fewer decisions require attention, more energy becomes available for meaningful work. Another powerful strategy is to define your priorities before the day begins. Many people wake up and immediately react to whatever appears in front of them. Messages determine their schedule. Urgent requests control their attention. Random events shape their day. A more effective approach is to decide what matters before the world makes that decision for you. Each evening, identify the most important task for the next day. Make it specific. Make it clear. Know exactly what needs to be done. When morning arrives, begin with that priority. This simple habit creates momentum. Progress generates motivation. Accomplishment strengthens confidence. Focus becomes easier when you know exactly where your attention belongs. Physical environment also plays a major role in concentration. The spaces around you influence your thoughts more than many people realize. A cluttered environment often encourages a cluttered mind. Excess noise competes for attention. Constant interruptions weaken productivity. Create a space that supports concentration. Remove unnecessary distractions. Keep essential tools within reach. Reduce visual chaos. Design your environment to make focus easier rather than harder. Small adjustments can create significant improvements. Equally important is the quality of your physical condition. The mind and body work together. Poor sleep weakens concentration. Constant fatigue reduces mental clarity. Lack of movement decreases energy. Poor nutrition affects attention and decision-making. Many people search for advanced productivity strategies while ignoring these basic foundations. A rested mind focuses better. A healthy body supports clear thinking. Simple daily habits often produce greater results than complicated systems. Focus also requires the ability to manage emotional distractions. Strong emotions naturally demand attention. Frustration, disappointment, anxiety, and anger can dominate the mind if left unchecked. Many people lose their ability to concentrate because their attention becomes trapped by the emotion itself. Developing emotional awareness helps prevent this. Instead of immediately reacting, pause. Acknowledge what you are feeling. Identify the emotion. Allow yourself a moment to observe it. Then ask an important question. What action deserves my attention right now? This question shifts focus away from emotional turbulence and back toward purposeful action. The goal is to prevent emotions from controlling your attention for longer than necessary. One of the greatest threats to focus is the habit of constant consumption. Many people spend hours gathering information while taking very little action. They watch, read, listen, and absorb endless content. Knowledge has value, but information without action creates stagnation. Learning should support execution. Reading should support application. Listening should support growth. At some point, consumption must give way to action. Ask yourself regularly whether you are using information to improve your life or simply using it to avoid taking action. This honest question can reveal important truths. Patience is another essential component of focus. Modern culture encourages immediate results. People expect rapid progress. They want instant improvement, instant success, and instant transformation. Meaningful achievement rarely works this way. Important goals require sustained effort over time. Focus allows you to remain committed long enough to see results. A person who stays committed develops mastery. Progress often appears slow in the beginning. Growth may seem invisible for weeks or months. Yet consistent effort accumulates. Small actions repeated daily eventually produce remarkable outcomes. Trust the process. Trust the effort. Trust the value of focused work. There will be days when concentration feels difficult. There will be moments when distractions seem more appealing than discipline. There will be times when progress appears slower than expected. Those moments matter. Anyone can remain focused when conditions are ideal. True growth occurs when you maintain focus despite discomfort. Every time you redirect your attention back to what matters, you strengthen an important mental muscle. Every time you resist an unnecessary distraction, you reinforce self-control. Every time you complete a meaningful task before seeking entertainment, you build discipline. These victories may appear small, but they shape character. Over time, focused people develop a reputation for reliability. They follow through on commitments. They finish what they start. They make consistent progress. Others trust them because they trust themselves. This self-trust becomes one of the greatest rewards of disciplined focus. You begin to see evidence of your own capability. You stop relying on motivation. You stop waiting for perfect conditions. You learn to act regardless of temporary feelings. This creates confidence that cannot be given by others. The world will always offer distractions. New technologies will emerge. More information will become available. More voices will compete for your attention. The challenge is not eliminating every distraction from existence. The challenge is deciding what deserves your attention. That decision belongs to you. Your attention shapes your days. Your days shape your habits. Your habits shape your future. When you learn to direct your focus intentionally, you begin taking control of the direction of your life. Protect your attention as carefully as you protect anything valuable. Choose your priorities wisely. Reduce unnecessary noise. Complete important work before seeking comfort. Return your attention to the present moment whenever it drifts. Practice concentration daily. Stay committed when progress feels slow. The ability to focus is not a gift reserved for a select few. It is a skill developed through deliberate practice and consistent effort. Strengthen that skill every day. Guard your attention. Direct your energy toward what matters. When you eliminate mental distractions and develop deeper focus, you gain more than productivity. You gain clarity. You gain purpose. You gain control over where your life is heading. And a focused mind is one of the strongest foundations upon which a meaningful life can be built. Chapter 3. Master emotional control during difficult life situations. Life does not test people only through major crises. More often, it tests them through ordinary moments that trigger powerful emotions. A harsh comment from a coworker, a disagreement with a family member, an unexpected setback, a broken promise, a financial struggle, a delayed opportunity, a disappointing outcome after months of effort. These moments may appear small when viewed from the outside, yet they often create strong emotional reactions within us. A single event can influence an entire day. One difficult conversation can remain in a person's mind for hours. One mistake can cause someone to question their abilities. One disappointment can drain motivation if it is not handled wisely. This is why emotional control is one of the most valuable skills a person can develop. Many people misunderstand what emotional control means. They imagine someone who never feels anger, sadness, frustration, fear, or disappointment. They believe emotional strength means becoming cold, distant, or unaffected by life's challenges. It means remaining capable of making wise decisions while experiencing emotions. It means keeping your values intact when pressure rises. It means refusing to allow temporary feelings to dictate permanent actions. Every human being experiences emotional highs and lows. This is part of life. No amount of wisdom eliminates emotions completely. The goal is not to stop feeling. The goal is to prevent feelings from becoming your master. Many of life's biggest regrets happen during moments of emotional impulsiveness. People say things they later wish they had not said. They make decisions without thinking clearly. They destroy relationships because of temporary anger. They abandon goals because of temporary discouragement. They create unnecessary problems because they acted before calming their minds. A few minutes of emotional reaction can create consequences that last for years. This is why mastering your emotional responses is not merely a personal development skill, it is a life skill. When difficulty arrives, the first battle often takes place within your own mind. A challenge appears. Your emotions react. Your thoughts begin racing. Assumptions form. Stories develop. Predictions emerge. The mind quickly creates interpretations before all the facts are known. A person receives criticism. Immediately they assume they are being attacked. Someone cancels a meeting. They assume rejection. A plan fails. They assume defeat. Yet assumptions are not reality. Many emotional storms begin because people treat their interpretations as facts. One of the most powerful habits you can develop is learning to separate events from conclusions. The event is what happened. The conclusion is the meaning you attach to it. These are not the same thing. Imagine that a friend does not return your message. The event is simple. A message was not answered. Everything else exists inside your interpretation. Perhaps they are busy. Perhaps they forgot. Perhaps they are dealing with something difficult. Perhaps they simply have not seen the message. Yet many people immediately assume the worst possible explanation. Their emotions then respond to an assumption rather than reality. Learning this distinction creates emotional freedom. Instead of reacting instantly, pause and ask yourself a question. What facts do I actually know right now? This simple question often reduces unnecessary emotional suffering. Another important lesson is understanding that emotions are temporary. Many people make permanent decisions based on temporary feelings. This creates unnecessary problems. Fear says, do not try. Embarrassment says hide. Frustration says quit. Anger says attack. Discouragement says give up. These emotional messages may feel convincing in the moment, but emotions constantly change. Think about difficult days you experienced years ago. At the time, those feelings may have seemed overwhelming, yet eventually they passed. New circumstances arrived, new opportunities appeared, life continued moving forward. Remembering the temporary nature of emotions helps create perspective during difficult situations. When intense feelings arise, remind yourself that you do not need to act immediately. You can pause. You can breathe. You can observe. You can wait until clarity returns. Patience protects people from countless mistakes. One practical technique involves creating space between feeling and action. When emotions become intense, avoid immediate responses whenever possible. Do not send the message right away. Do not make the decision immediately. Do not react in the heat of the moment. Give yourself time. A calm mind often sees solutions that an emotional mind cannot recognize. This small pause has saved relationships, careers, opportunities, and personal reputations. Strong people are not those who react fastest. Strong people are those who respond wisely. There is a significant difference between reacting and responding. Reaction is automatic. Response is intentional. Reaction is driven by impulse. Response is guided by judgment. Reaction seeks immediate release. Response considers long-term consequences. Developing this ability requires practice. At first, you may still react emotionally. That is normal. Growth begins with awareness. Each time you notice your emotional patterns, you gain an opportunity to improve them. Progress is not measured by perfection. Progress is measured by increasing self-awareness and better decisions over time. Another challenge many people face is carrying emotional burdens longer than necessary. Some individuals spend years replaying painful experiences. They repeatedly revisit old disappointments. They mentally relive arguments. They continue fighting battles that ended long ago. Meanwhile, life continues moving forward. Holding on to emotional pain does not change the past. It simply extends the suffering into the present. This does not mean difficult experiences should be ignored. Important lessons can be learned from painful events. Learning has value. Growth has value. But repeatedly reopening old wounds rarely creates progress. At some point, healing requires acceptance. Acceptance does not mean approval. Acceptance means acknowledging reality as it is. Something happened. It cannot be changed. The energy once spent resisting reality can now be directed toward building a better future. This shift is incredibly powerful. When people stop arguing with the past, they gain more strength for the present. Another key aspect of emotional control involves managing expectations. Many frustrations come from expecting life to unfold exactly as planned. People expect perfect outcomes. They expect others to behave exactly as they wish. They expect progress to happen without obstacles. Then reality delivers something different. People may disappoint you. Unexpected difficulties may appear. Circumstances may shift without warning. When you understand this, challenges become less shocking. You stop demanding that life be predictable. Instead, you develop the ability to adapt. Adaptability is one of the greatest forms of emotional strength. A flexible mind remains steady when conditions change. A rigid mind struggles whenever reality differs from expectations. Life rewards adaptability. The person who can adjust without losing composure often gains an advantage during difficult times. Gratitude also plays an important role in emotional balance. During hardship, the mind naturally focuses on what is missing, broken, delayed, or disappointing. This tendency can create a distorted perspective. Problems become magnified. Opportunities become invisible. Strengths are overlooked. Gratitude restores balance. It reminds you that difficulty and blessing can exist at the same time. A challenging season does not erase everything good in your life. There are still lessons available. There are still people who care about you. There are still opportunities ahead. There are still reasons to continue. Gratitude does not eliminate problems. It prevents problems from becoming your entire focus. Another important principle involves accepting responsibility for your emotional state. Many people believe other people control their emotions. They say things like, "He made me angry. She ruined my day. They made me feel worthless." While other people can influence your emotions, giving them total control is dangerous. Your emotional life becomes stronger when you recognize your own role in managing it. This perspective does not excuse harmful behavior from others. It simply reminds you that your inner world belongs to you. The more responsibility you accept for your responses, the more freedom you gain. External circumstances become less powerful. Your stability becomes less dependent on the behavior of others. Your peace becomes more secure. Over time, emotional mastery creates confidence. Not the loud confidence that seeks attention, not the fragile confidence that depends on constant praise. A deeper confidence. The confidence that comes from knowing you can handle difficult situations. The confidence that comes from trusting your judgment. The confidence that comes from remaining steady during uncertainty. This type of confidence cannot be purchased. It cannot be borrowed. It must be built through experience. Every challenge becomes an opportunity to strengthen it. Every disappointment becomes a chance to practice resilience. Every setback becomes a lesson in emotional leadership. Life will continue presenting difficult moments. No one escapes them. Unexpected losses will occur. Plans will occasionally fail. People will sometimes disappoint you. Stressful situations will appear. Yet your future is not determined solely by what happens to you. It is shaped by how you respond when those moments arrive. A calm mind sees opportunities where panic sees only danger. A disciplined mind remains focused when others become overwhelmed. A balanced mind continues moving forward despite temporary discomfort. This is the power of emotional control. It allows you to face reality without becoming controlled by it. It allows you to experience feelings without becoming trapped by them. It allows you to maintain direction even when circumstances become difficult. The strongest person in the room is rarely the loudest. The strongest person is often the one who remains composed when others lose control. The one who thinks clearly during pressure. The one who chooses wisdom over impulse. The one who protects long-term goals from short-term emotions. Master this ability and you gain something far greater than emotional comfort. You gain stability. You gain clarity. You gain the ability to navigate life's most difficult seasons with strength, patience, and purpose. And that ability will serve you in every area of life for years to come. Chapter 4. Replace limiting beliefs with strong, empowering thinking. Every person lives inside two worlds at the same time. One is the world around them, filled with people, opportunities, responsibilities, challenges, and experiences. While most people spend their lives trying to change the external world, Very few take the time to examine the internal one. Yet the internal world often determines how the external world is experienced. Two people can face the same situation and respond completely differently. One sees possibility while the other sees limitation. One moves forward while the other remains stuck. One continues despite uncertainty while the other hesitates. The difference is not always skill, intelligence, or resources. Often, the difference is belief. Beliefs act like invisible instructions that guide behavior. They influence what you attempt, what you avoid, what you expect, and what you consider possible. Many people are being held back not by reality itself, but by the conclusions they have accepted about reality. A limiting belief is an idea that restricts your growth, weakens your confidence, or convinces you that your potential is smaller than it truly is. These beliefs often operate quietly in the background. Because they are repeated so often, they begin to feel like facts. Someone believes they are too old to learn something new. Someone believes they are not intelligent enough to succeed. Someone believes they are not capable of leadership. Someone believes they always fail when trying something difficult. Someone believes success belongs to other people. These beliefs may feel real, but feelings do not determine truth. Many limiting beliefs are formed long before a person ever questions them. They may come from childhood experiences, repeated criticism, social influences, past disappointments, or personal mistakes. A person hears the same message enough times and eventually accepts it as part of their identity. A student struggles in one subject and begins to think they are incapable of learning. An employee is overlooked for an opportunity and starts believing they lack value. A business attempt fails and becomes evidence that they are not meant to succeed. A relationship ends and convinces them they are unworthy of love. Over time, isolated events become permanent conclusions. This is where many people unknowingly create barriers within their own minds. The danger of limiting beliefs is not simply that they exist. The danger is that they influence behavior. People rarely act beyond what they believe is possible. If someone believes they cannot improve, they stop trying. If someone believes they will fail, they often avoid taking action. If someone believes they are not capable, they miss opportunities that could have changed their lives. The belief becomes a self-fulfilling cycle. The person expects little, attempts little, and achieves little. Their results then appear to confirm the original belief. You cannot change a belief that you refuse to examine. Start paying attention to the language you use when talking about yourself. Listen carefully to your internal conversations. Notice the statements that begin with phrases like, "I could never," "I am not the kind of person who," "I always struggle with," "I am terrible at," "People like me do not." These statements often reveal hidden limitations. Many people repeat them automatically without questioning whether they are accurate. The next step is challenging these assumptions honestly. Ask yourself an important question. Is this belief absolutely true? Not partly true. Not occasionally true. Absolutely true. Most limiting beliefs begin to weaken under careful examination. Suppose someone believes they are bad at communication. Is it true in every situation? Do they communicate poorly with everyone? Have they never explained an idea successfully? Have they never had a meaningful conversation? Usually, the answer is no. The belief is often exaggerated. The reality is more balanced. Perhaps they need improvement in certain situations, but improvement is very different from impossibility. This distinction matters. Growth becomes possible when people stop defining themselves by their weaknesses. Another useful question is this: where did this belief come from? Many people discover that some of their strongest limitations originated from opinions rather than facts. A teacher's comment, a parent's frustration, a friend's criticism, a single failure, an embarrassing experience, an unfair comparison. These moments may have influenced thinking for years, even though they never deserved that level of authority. Just because someone said something about you does not make it true. Just because you struggled once does not mean you will always struggle. Just because you failed before does not mean future success is impossible. Your past experiences provide information. They do not define your future potential. Empowering thinking begins when you separate identity from circumstance. It is not an identity. A mistake is an action. It is not a permanent label. A weakness is an area for improvement. It is not proof of inability. This shift changes everything. Instead of saying, "I am a failure," you begin saying, "I experienced a failure." Instead of saying, "I am bad at this," you begin saying, "I am still learning." Instead of saying, "I cannot do it," you begin saying, "I have not mastered it yet." These are not empty positive statements. They are more accurate ways of viewing reality. Every skill that exists today was once unfamiliar. Every expert was once inexperienced. Every successful person once lacked the abilities they later developed. Practice, correction, and persistence. Empowering thinkers understand this principle. They do not expect immediate perfection. They focus on improvement. They evaluate themselves based on effort, learning, and growth, rather than temporary outcomes. This approach creates resilience. When difficulties arise, empowering beliefs provide stability. A person with limiting beliefs sees obstacles as proof they should quit. A person with empowering beliefs sees obstacles as part of the learning process. One perspective creates retreat. The other creates progress. Another important aspect of empowering thinking is focusing on capability rather than certainty. Many people delay action because they want guarantees. They want assurance before taking risks. They want certainty before making changes. Life rarely provides complete certainty. Waiting for guarantees often leads to inaction. A stronger belief sounds different. I may not know exactly how this will turn out, but I am capable of learning, adapting, and improving. This mindset creates courage. Not because fear disappears, but because confidence grows stronger than fear. Confidence does not come from knowing every answer. Confidence comes from trusting your ability to handle challenges as they arise. This distinction is powerful. Many opportunities are missed because people underestimate themselves. They focus on what they lack instead of what they can develop. They focus on current limitations instead of future possibilities. Yet human beings are remarkably adaptable. Skills can be learned. Knowledge can be acquired. Habits can be changed. Weaknesses can be strengthened. Character can be developed. The future is not fixed. Your current abilities are not your final abilities. Your present circumstances are not your permanent circumstances. Growth remains available as long as you remain willing to pursue it. Surrounding yourself with constructive influences can also strengthen empowering thinking. The people around you affect your expectations. Their attitudes influence your perspective. Their habits shape what feels normal. Spend enough time around individuals who constantly complain, doubt themselves, and avoid responsibility, and those patterns can become familiar. Spend time around people who embrace growth, accountability, and learning, and your mindset begins to expand. Choose your influences carefully. Protect your thinking from unnecessary negativity. Seek conversations that encourage progress. Seek examples that demonstrate what is possible. Seek environments that challenge you to become better. Another practical strategy involves collecting evidence of your own growth. Many people focus exclusively on what remains unfinished. They overlook how far they have already come. Take time to recognize improvements. Remember skills you have learned. Remember challenges you have overcome. Remember obstacles you once believed were impossible. These experiences provide evidence that growth is real. They remind you that your future does not have to resemble your past. Empowering thinking is strengthened through action. A belief becomes stronger when supported by experience. If you want to believe you are capable, Prove it through consistent action. Keep promises to yourself. Complete difficult tasks. Learn new skills. Face challenges directly. Each action becomes evidence. Each accomplishment reinforces confidence. Each victory expands what you believe is possible. This process does not require dramatic achievements. Small wins matter. Reading a few pages each day matters. Finishing a project matters. Developing a healthy habit matters. Following through on commitments matters. Consistency creates proof. Proof strengthens belief. Strong belief fuels greater action. The cycle begins working in your favor. As this process continues, your identity starts changing. You stop seeing yourself as someone limited by circumstances. You begin seeing yourself as someone capable of growth. You stop defining yourself by past mistakes. You begin defining yourself by present effort. You stop focusing on reasons something cannot be done. You begin looking for ways to make progress. This shift transforms more than results. It transforms character. A person who believes growth is possible approaches life differently. They remain curious. They remain teachable. They remain open to improvement. They remain willing to try again after setbacks. These qualities create long-term success in every area of life. Life will continue presenting challenges. There will still be obstacles. There will still be uncertainty. There will still be difficult days. Empowering thinking does not remove these realities. It changes how you face them. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you begin asking, "What can I learn from this?" Instead of focusing on limitations, you focus on possibilities. Choose beliefs that support growth. Choose beliefs that encourage effort. Choose beliefs that strengthen courage. Choose beliefs that expand possibility. The mind follows the direction it is given. Give it a direction that leads toward improvement. Refuse to allow outdated assumptions to determine your future. Challenge limitations that no longer serve you. Build stronger beliefs through consistent action. Trust your capacity to learn. Trust your ability to adapt. Trust your potential to grow beyond your current circumstances. The person you become tomorrow is influenced by what you believe about yourself today. Replace limiting beliefs with empowering thinking, and you open the door to a larger vision of what your life can become. Build consistent habits that support personal growth. Many people picture a moment when everything suddenly changes. They imagine waking up one day with complete confidence, perfect discipline, endless motivation, and a clear path to success. Because of this expectation, they spend years searching for breakthroughs, while overlooking something far more powerful. Real growth rarely arrives through a single life-changing moment. More often, it is built through small actions repeated consistently over time. The person who becomes stronger physically does not achieve it through one workout. The person who becomes knowledgeable does not achieve it through one book. The person who develops character does not achieve it through one difficult decision. It is the result of actions performed again and again until they become part of daily life. This is where habits become important. Habits are behaviors that operate with less effort because they have been practiced repeatedly. They shape daily routines, influence decisions, and quietly determine results. Many people focus heavily on goals while giving very little attention to habits. Yet habits often have a greater impact on long-term outcomes. A goal shows you where you want to go. A habit determines whether you get there. Consider two individuals who both want to improve their lives. One spends hours talking about future success. The other spends a few minutes every day taking small actions that move them forward. Months later, the second person usually achieves more progress. Not because they had bigger dreams, but because they built behaviors that supported those dreams. The challenge is that habits rarely produce immediate rewards. A healthy meal does not instantly transform the body. A productive morning does not instantly create mastery. Reading for 20 minutes does not immediately make someone an expert. The results are often invisible in the beginning. This is why many people quit too early. They judge their efforts based on immediate outcomes rather than long-term impact. Personal growth requires patience. It requires trust in the value of consistent action, even when results cannot yet be seen. Think of a person planting seeds in a garden. After a few days, there may be little visible evidence of progress. Yet beneath the surface, important development is taking place. Roots are forming. Foundations are strengthening. Growth is occurring even though it cannot yet be observed. Many positive habits work in a similar way. The benefits accumulate quietly. One day of effort may seem insignificant. 1 month of effort begins creating momentum. 1 year of effort can completely change a person's life. This understanding helps you remain committed during periods when progress feels slow. One reason people struggle to build helpful habits is that they attempt to change too much at once. They become excited about improvement and create unrealistic plans. They decide to wake up hours earlier. They commit to exercising every day. They promise to read several books each week. They plan to learn multiple skills simultaneously. For a short period, enthusiasm carries them forward. Eventually, the demands become overwhelming. The routine collapses. Discouragement follows. Start with actions that are simple enough to perform consistently. Small actions may not seem impressive, but consistency creates strength. Reading 5 pages daily is better than reading 50 pages once and then stopping. Walking for 15 minutes each day is better than exercising intensely for a few days and then quitting. Writing a single paragraph every morning is better than waiting for perfect inspiration. Small actions performed regularly create stability. Stability creates momentum. Momentum creates transformation. Another important principle is linking habits to existing routines. Many people rely entirely on memory when trying to establish new behaviors. They tell themselves they will remember to practice a new habit later. Often, they forget. A more reliable strategy is attaching a new action to something already established. After brushing your teeth, spend a few minutes reflecting on your goals. After breakfast, read a few pages of a valuable book. After finishing work, spend time learning a new skill. By connecting new habits to existing routines, you create natural reminders. This increases consistency and reduces reliance on motivation. Motivation is valuable, but it is not dependable. Some days you will feel energized. Some days you will feel tired. Some days enthusiasm will be high. Other days it will be absent. People who rely exclusively on motivation often struggle to maintain progress. People who rely on routines continue moving forward, regardless of temporary feelings. The ability to act even when motivation is low separates wishful thinking from meaningful growth. Another factor that influences habits is environment. Many people attempt to strengthen their behavior while surrounding themselves with conditions that encourage the opposite behavior. Someone wants to read more, yet spends hours surrounded by distractions. Someone wants to improve health, yet constantly places temptation within reach. Someone wants to become more productive, yet works in an environment filled with interruptions. Behavior becomes easier when your surroundings support your goals. Design your environment intentionally. Make positive actions more convenient. Make unhelpful actions less convenient. Place books where you can easily access them. Keep learning materials visible. Prepare healthy options in advance. Create spaces that encourage concentration. Your environment should help you succeed, rather than constantly challenge your intentions. Another essential part of personal growth is tracking progress. Many people become discouraged because they focus only on how far they still need to go. They forget to recognize improvement. Keeping a simple record of your habits can be powerful. Mark each day you complete the habit. Record small victories. Notice patterns. Observe consistency. This process provides evidence of progress and reinforces commitment. When you see proof of your effort, confidence increases. Confidence makes future action easier. The relationship between habits and identity is equally important. Most people focus on what they want to achieve. Fewer people focus on who they want to become. A person who wants to exercise may focus on fitness. A person who wants to read may focus on knowledge. A person who wants to save money may focus on financial goals. While these objectives matter, lasting change often occurs when behavior becomes connected to identity. Instead of saying, "I want to exercise," begin thinking, "I am becoming someone who values health." Instead of saying, "I want to read more," think, "I am becoming someone who learns continuously." Instead of saying, "I want to be disciplined," think, "I am becoming someone who follows through on commitments." This shift creates deeper motivation. Actions stop feeling like temporary tasks. They become expressions of the person you are becoming. Identity-based habits tend to last longer because they connect behavior to self-image. Every action then becomes a vote for the type of person you want to be. Another challenge many people face is perfectionism. They believe one mistake ruins everything. They miss one day and assume they have failed. They break a routine and decide they lack discipline. This mindset creates unnecessary setbacks. Personal growth does not require perfection. It requires persistence. Missing one day is not failure. Giving up entirely is the real danger. The objective is not to maintain a flawless record. The objective is to return quickly whenever you fall off track. A strong habit survives occasional mistakes because commitment remains intact. Progress depends more on consistency than perfection. There will be days when life becomes complicated. Unexpected responsibilities will appear. Schedules will change. Energy levels will fluctuate. Challenges will arise. During these moments, flexibility becomes important. When circumstances prevent your usual routine, perform a smaller version of the habit rather than abandoning it completely. Read one page instead of 20. Exercise for 5 minutes instead of 30. Write one sentence instead of a full page. Maintaining continuity protects momentum. Momentum is valuable because restarting is often harder than continuing. One of the greatest rewards of positive habits is the trust they build within yourself. Every time you follow through on a commitment, you strengthen self-respect. Every completed action sends a message. It says, "I can rely on myself." This internal trust influences every area of life. People who trust themselves make decisions more confidently. They pursue opportunities more willingly. They recover from setbacks more effectively. They approach challenges with greater certainty. The foundation of that trust is built through repeated action. Over time, positive habits begin producing results that extend beyond their original purpose. Reading improves knowledge, but it also strengthens concentration. Exercise improves physical health, but it also builds discipline. Daily reflection improves awareness, but it also enhances decision-making. Learning a skill improves competence, but it also increases confidence. One positive habit often leads to another. Improvement creates additional improvement. Momentum creates additional momentum. This process gradually changes how you experience life. Tasks that once seemed difficult become manageable. Challenges that once felt intimidating become opportunities for growth. Confidence increases because you have evidence of your own capability. You no longer depend entirely on inspiration. You depend on systems that support progress. This is one of the most powerful advantages of habits. They continue working even when emotions fluctuate. They provide direction when motivation fades. They create stability during uncertain periods. They transform intentions into action. Years from now, your life will largely reflect what you repeatedly do, not what you occasionally do, not what you plan to do, not what you hope to do, what you consistently do. You do not need extraordinary talent to begin improving. You do not need perfect conditions. You do not need constant enthusiasm. You need willingness. You need patience. You need consistency. Choose habits that align with the life you want to build. Keep them simple enough to sustain. Protect them during difficult seasons. Strengthen them through repetition. Allow them to become part of your daily routine. They influence decisions. They build confidence. They create momentum. And over time, they transform an ordinary life into one marked by growth, purpose, and continual improvement. Chapter 6. Train self-discipline through daily purposeful actions. It is the moment when desire meets difficulty. At first, enthusiasm is strong. A new goal feels exciting. The future looks promising. Energy is high. Plans are clear. Progress seems inevitable. Then reality arrives. The work becomes harder than expected. Results take longer than anticipated. Obstacles emerge. Comfort becomes tempting. Excuses begin appearing. This is where many dreams quietly disappear. Not because the goal was impossible. Not because the person lacked potential. Not because opportunity was unavailable. The real reason is often much simpler. They had motivation, but they had not yet developed discipline. Motivation is valuable. It can provide energy and excitement. It can inspire action and create momentum. However, motivation is unpredictable. Some days it feels strong, other days it feels absent. If your progress depends entirely on motivation, your results will fluctuate with your emotions. Discipline operates differently. Discipline allows action to continue even when enthusiasm fades. Discipline keeps a person moving when comfort encourages them to stop. Discipline creates consistency when circumstances become difficult. It is one of the most powerful forces behind long-term success. Many people view discipline as punishment. They imagine strict rules, constant sacrifice, and a life without enjoyment. This misunderstanding causes them to avoid developing it. True discipline is not about making life harder. It is about making life better. It is the ability to choose what matters most over what feels easiest in the moment. Every day presents countless opportunities to practice this ability. The alarm sounds in the morning. One choice leads back to sleep. The other leads toward responsibility. A task requires effort. One choice leads toward procrastination. The other leads toward progress. An uncomfortable conversation needs to happen. One choice avoids it. The other addresses it directly. These moments may appear ordinary, yet they shape character. Character is not built during rare occasions. Character is built through daily decisions. Self-discipline is often misunderstood as a personality trait that some people naturally possess, while others do not. This belief is inaccurate. Discipline is a skill. Like any skill, it improves through practice. No one begins with perfect self-control. People become disciplined by repeatedly choosing actions that align with their values and goals. The process starts with understanding an important truth. You do not need to control every area of your life immediately. Attempting massive change often creates frustration. A more effective approach is learning to control small actions consistently. Small victories create strength. Strength creates confidence. Confidence supports larger challenges. A person who cannot consistently complete simple commitments will struggle with larger responsibilities. This is why purposeful action matters so much. Purposeful actions are behaviors connected to something meaningful. They are not random activities. They serve a clear objective: reading to improve knowledge, exercising to strengthen health, practicing a skill to increase competence, saving money to create security, preparing carefully to improve performance. Purpose gives discipline direction. Without purpose, effort often feels empty. When people clearly understand why something matters, commitment becomes easier. This is why successful individuals regularly reconnect with their reasons. They remember what they are working toward. They remember what is at stake. They remember the consequences of inaction. Clarity strengthens determination. One useful exercise is identifying the areas where lack of discipline creates the greatest problems. Be honest with yourself. Where do you repeatedly break promises to yourself? Where do you delay important responsibilities? Where do you choose short-term comfort at the expense of long-term improvement? Awareness creates opportunity. You cannot strengthen what you refuse to examine. Many people focus heavily on outcomes while ignoring daily behaviors. They think constantly about future achievements. They imagine the finished result. They dream about success. Yet success is usually created through actions that seem ordinary when viewed individually. A writer completes one page. An athlete completes one training session. A student studies one lesson. An entrepreneur solves one problem. Each action appears small. Repeated consistently, those actions create extraordinary results. Discipline requires respect for small actions, the ability to perform important tasks even when they seem insignificant. Another valuable lesson involves separating feelings from commitments. Many people unconsciously believe they should feel ready before taking action. They wait for confidence before beginning. They wait for inspiration before working. 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 They wait for inspiration. Disciplined people understand something different. Action often creates the feeling people are waiting for. Beginning generates momentum. Progress builds confidence. Effort creates motivation. The lesson is simple. Do not wait to feel ready. Start moving. The feeling often follows the action. Another challenge involves managing discomfort. Most worthwhile goals require temporary discomfort. Learning a skill involves mistakes. Improving fitness involves effort. Building a business involves uncertainty. Developing expertise involves patience. Growth often requires doing things that are not immediately enjoyable. Many people spend their lives avoiding discomfort. They seek convenience whenever possible. They choose the easiest option available. Unfortunately, constant comfort rarely produces meaningful development. Every time you willingly face a challenge, you strengthen your ability to handle future challenges. This process builds resilience. Resilience and discipline often grow together. One practical strategy is intentionally practicing small acts of self-control throughout the day. Finish a task before checking distractions. Keep a commitment even when no one is watching. Complete responsibilities before entertainment. Choose patience during frustrating situations. These moments may appear minor, but they train an important mental ability. They teach you that you are capable of directing your behavior rather than being controlled by impulses. Another essential part of discipline is personal accountability. Many people make excuses because excuses provide temporary relief. They reduce discomfort. They protect the ego. They shift responsibility elsewhere. Yet excuses have a hidden cost. They weaken personal power. Every excuse sends a message that circumstances control outcomes. Accountability sends a different message. It says that your choices matter. It says that your actions influence results. It says that improvement remains possible. This perspective creates strength. Strong individuals do not spend excessive time searching for someone to blame. They focus on what can be done next. Forward movement becomes their priority. Discipline also requires learning how to recover from setbacks. No one performs perfectly all the time. Mistakes happen, plans fail, schedules become disrupted, unexpected challenges appear. The critical question is not whether setbacks occur. The critical question is how you respond. Some people miss one day and abandon their efforts entirely. Others view setbacks as temporary interruptions. They return to their routines quickly. The difference is significant. A disciplined person understands that consistency matters more than perfection. One mistake does not erase months of progress. One difficult day does not define character. What matters is the willingness to continue. Self-discipline becomes stronger when actions are aligned with personal values. People often struggle to remain committed when pursuing goals imposed by others. External pressure rarely creates lasting determination. Internal conviction does. Ask yourself what truly matters. What kind of person do you want to become? What qualities do you respect? What standards do you want to live by? When actions reflect personal values, discipline gains deeper meaning. It becomes an expression of identity rather than a temporary effort. Over time, disciplined behavior creates an important benefit. It builds trust. Not the trust other people have in you, the trust you have in yourself. Many people struggle with confidence because they repeatedly break promises to themselves. They say they will begin tomorrow. Tomorrow arrives and nothing changes. They make commitments and abandon them. Eventually, self-trust weakens. Discipline restores that trust. Every completed commitment becomes evidence. Evidence creates belief. Belief strengthens confidence. Confidence supports future action. The cycle begins working in your favor. This form of confidence is powerful because it is based on experience. It does not depend on praise. It does not depend on approval. It comes from knowing that you can rely on yourself. Another important principle involves managing attention carefully. The modern world provides endless opportunities for distraction. Many people lose hours each day without realizing it. Their attention is scattered across countless activities. Discipline requires intentional focus. You must decide what deserves your time and energy. Every choice carries a cost. When attention is directed toward one thing, it cannot be directed elsewhere. Disciplined individuals understand this. They protect their priorities. They recognize that meaningful accomplishments require concentrated effort. As discipline grows, life begins changing in subtle ways. Tasks feel less overwhelming. Decisions become clearer. Confidence increases. Productivity improves. Goals begin feeling more attainable. These changes do not happen overnight. They emerge gradually through repeated action. One day you notice that responsibilities no longer feel as intimidating. You notice that procrastination has less influence. You notice that challenges are handled with greater composure. These improvements are signs that discipline is becoming part of your character. The process never truly ends. Self-discipline is not a destination. It is an ongoing practice. Each day presents new opportunities to strengthen it. Each choice becomes a chance to reinforce positive behavior. Each action contributes to the person you are becoming. The most successful individuals are not necessarily the most talented. They are often the most consistent. They continue when others stop. They remain committed when others become distracted. They follow through when others lose interest. Their strength comes from daily purposeful action. That same strength is available to anyone willing to develop it. You do not need extraordinary abilities. You do not need perfect circumstances. You do not need endless motivation. You need a willingness to act according to your values, even when it is difficult. You need the courage to choose long-term benefit over immediate comfort. You need the patience to continue when progress appears slow. Train yourself through small, purposeful actions. Keep promises to yourself. Honor your commitments. Do what needs to be done, even when you do not feel like doing it. The more often you practice this principle, the stronger it becomes. Eventually, discipline stops feeling like something you force. It becomes part of who you are. And when that happens, you gain one of the most valuable advantages a person can possess: the ability to direct your life intentionally rather than allowing circumstances to direct it for you. And expectations. People imagine how their future will unfold. They create goals. They work toward opportunities. They invest time, effort, energy, and emotion into things they care about. Yet no matter how carefully life is planned, setbacks eventually arrive. A door closes unexpectedly. An opportunity disappears. A relationship ends. A project fails. A financial loss occurs. A dream takes longer than expected. A mistake creates consequences. A period of uncertainty appears without warning. These experiences are part of the human journey. No amount of preparation completely eliminates them. No level of intelligence guarantees avoidance. No amount of effort creates a life free from difficulty. What separates people is not whether they encounter setbacks. What separates people is how they respond when setbacks appear. Some individuals allow difficulties to define them. Others allow difficulties to develop them. This difference is created through mental resilience. Mental resilience is the ability to remain steady, adaptable, and forward-moving when life becomes challenging. It is the capacity to recover after disappointment. It is the strength to continue despite obstacles. It is the willingness to face adversity without surrendering your values, purpose, or determination. Many people believe resilience is something a person is either born with or without. In reality, resilience is developed through experience and practice. Just as physical strength grows through resistance, mental strength develops through challenge. This does not mean hardship is enjoyable. It does not mean pain should be celebrated. It means that difficult experiences can become valuable teachers when approached with the right mindset. One of the biggest mistakes people make when facing failure is believing that failure reveals their worth. A failed attempt is often treated as proof of personal inadequacy. Someone starts a business that does not succeed. They conclude they are incapable. Someone applies for an opportunity and receives rejection. They conclude they are not good enough. Someone works hard toward a goal and falls short. They conclude they lack what it takes. These conclusions are dangerous because they confuse outcomes with identity. An outcome is a result. Identity is who you are. The two are not the same. A disappointing result provides information. It does not determine your value. When people attach their self-worth to every success or failure, emotional stability becomes impossible. Life contains too many variables. Not every effort will produce the desired outcome. Not every plan will succeed immediately. Not every investment of energy will be rewarded quickly. Mental resilience begins when you separate your value as a person from temporary results. This perspective allows you to learn without being crushed by setbacks. Failure often carries lessons that success cannot provide. Success may reveal what worked. Failure often reveals what needs improvement. Success may increase confidence. Failure often increases wisdom. Success may provide rewards. Failure often provides understanding. People who become resilient stop viewing setbacks as final verdicts. They begin viewing them as sources of feedback. This shift changes how challenges are experienced. Instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" a resilient person asks, "What can this teach me?" Instead of becoming consumed by disappointment, they become curious. Curiosity creates growth. Victimhood creates stagnation. Another important aspect of resilience involves accepting reality quickly. Many people waste valuable energy fighting facts that cannot be changed. They replay events repeatedly. They wish circumstances were different. They mentally argue with reality. The result is frustration without progress. Acceptance does not mean liking what happened. Acceptance does not mean approving of the situation. Acceptance simply means recognizing what is true. Once reality is acknowledged, attention can shift toward solutions. A person loses an opportunity, the loss is real, the disappointment is understandable. Yet after recognizing the situation, an important question emerges. What should I do next? This question redirects energy toward constructive action. Forward movement becomes possible. The ability to move forward after disappointment is one of the clearest signs of resilience. Another challenge people face during difficult periods is uncertainty. Human beings naturally prefer clarity. They want answers. They want guarantees. They want to know how things will turn out. Unfortunately, life often requires moving forward without complete certainty. Periods of uncertainty test mental strength. A person may not know when improvement will come. They may not know how long recovery will take. They may not know whether their efforts will succeed. This lack of clarity can create fear. Resilient individuals learn to function despite uncertainty. They focus on what can be done today rather than demanding answers about tomorrow. They understand that progress is often created through action, not prediction. Instead of becoming trapped by unknowns, they concentrate on the next useful step. This mindset reduces overwhelm. A large challenge becomes more manageable when broken into smaller actions. Another important lesson involves recognizing that setbacks often reveal character. When conditions are favorable, many qualities remain hidden. Patience is easy when nothing goes wrong. Optimism is easy when success comes quickly. Commitment is easy when progress is visible. Challenges reveal whether those qualities remain present during difficulty. This is why adversity can become a powerful opportunity for self-discovery. You learn how you respond under pressure. You discover your strengths. You identify weaknesses that need attention. You gain a deeper understanding of yourself. Many people emerge from difficult seasons stronger because they develop qualities that comfort never required. Patience grows through waiting. Persistence grows through resistance. Courage grows through uncertainty. Adaptability grows through change. These qualities are valuable in every area of life. Resilience also requires controlling perspective. Two people can experience similar setbacks and interpret them very differently. One sees only loss. The other notices possibilities. One becomes focused entirely on what went wrong. The other searches for what can still be built. The event may be identical. The perspective creates different outcomes. This does not mean pretending everything is positive. False optimism ignores reality. Resilient thinking acknowledges reality while refusing to become trapped by it. A setback may be painful. A failure may be disappointing. A challenge may be exhausting. These truths can exist alongside another truth. The future still contains possibility. Maintaining this balanced perspective protects hope. Hope is not wishful thinking. Hope is the belief that improvement remains possible through continued effort. Without hope, action weakens. With hope, perseverance becomes easier. Another common obstacle is comparison. Many people make difficult situations even harder by comparing their progress to others. They see someone else's success and become discouraged. They compare their struggles to another person's achievements. They measure their journey against someone else's timeline. This habit creates unnecessary frustration. Every person faces unique circumstances. Every path contains different challenges. Every timeline unfolds differently. Resilient individuals focus more on personal growth than external comparison. They measure progress against their own past rather than someone else's present. Improvement becomes the goal. Competition becomes secondary. Support systems also play an important role in resilience. Many people attempt to carry every burden alone. They isolate themselves during difficult periods. They refuse assistance. They withdraw from meaningful relationships. This often increases suffering. Strong people understand the value of connection. Seeking guidance does not indicate weakness. Accepting support does not reduce independence. Wise individuals learn from others. They listen to advice. They draw strength from trusted relationships. They recognize that growth can occur through shared experience. Resilience is strengthened when people remain connected rather than isolated. Another essential practice is maintaining daily structure during challenging times. When life becomes difficult, routines often disappear. People stop exercising. They stop learning. They neglect healthy habits. Their schedules become chaotic. Unfortunately, this often makes difficult situations harder. Simple routines provide stability during uncertainty. Small acts of consistency create a sense of control. A morning walk, a reading habit, a period of reflection, a commitment to learning. These actions may appear minor, yet they create valuable momentum. Momentum helps prevent discouragement from becoming paralysis. One action leads to another. Progress continues. Mental resilience also requires patience with recovery. Many people expect themselves to recover instantly after setbacks. When healing takes time, they become frustrated. Real recovery is rarely immediate. Trust often requires rebuilding. Confidence may need restoration. Plans may need adjustment. Growth may require reflection. Allow yourself the necessary time to recover without interpreting recovery as weakness. Healing and rebuilding are part of the process. They deserve respect. One of the most empowering realizations a person can have is understanding that resilience is built one decision at a time. It is not created through a single dramatic act. It develops through countless moments of perseverance. Choosing to learn after failure, choosing to adapt after disappointment, choosing to remain hopeful during uncertainty. Over time, they create remarkable strength. Eventually, challenges that once seemed overwhelming become manageable. Situations that once created panic become opportunities for growth. Difficulties still exist, but your capacity to handle them expands. This is one of the greatest benefits of resilience. Life does not necessarily become easier. You become stronger. You become wiser. You become more capable. You become more adaptable. The setbacks that once threatened to stop you become experiences that teach you. The failures that once discouraged you become lessons that guide you. The obstacles that once appeared permanent become challenges that can be navigated. A resilient mind understands that one chapter never defines the entire story. One mistake does not determine the future. One failure does not erase potential. One difficult season does not predict what comes next. As long as effort continues, possibility remains alive. As long as learning continues, growth remains available. As long as hope remains present, progress remains possible. Life will test your patience. It will challenge your confidence. It will occasionally force you to begin again. Meet those moments with determination. Meet them with perspective. Meet them with courage. Most importantly, meet them with resilience. Because the ability to rise after falling is often more valuable than never falling at all. And those who learn to recover from setbacks develop a strength that stays with them for the rest of their lives. Chapter 8. Direct your attention toward meaningful life goals. Every day, people invest their attention somewhere. Some invest it intentionally. Others give it away without realizing it. Attention flows toward conversations, worries, entertainment, responsibilities, opportunities, problems, and countless distractions. Yet attention is one of the most powerful resources a person possesses. Where attention goes, effort follows. Where effort follows, results begin to develop. Many individuals spend years feeling busy but not fulfilled. They work hard, they remain occupied, they complete tasks, they solve problems. Yet despite all their activity, they feel disconnected from a deeper sense of purpose. The reason is often simple. Their attention is consumed by urgent matters while meaningful goals remain neglected. Being busy and being purposeful are not the same thing. Activity alone does not guarantee progress. Movement alone does not guarantee direction. A person can spend years climbing a ladder only to discover it was leaning against the wrong wall. This is why meaningful goals matter. Meaningful goals provide direction for your energy. They help you determine what deserves your attention and what does not. They create a standard for decision-making. They help you identify opportunities worth pursuing and distractions worth avoiding. Without meaningful goals, attention becomes vulnerable to external influences. Other people decide your priorities. Circumstances determine your focus. Random events shape your schedule. A person without direction often spends their life reacting. A person with direction spends more time choosing. One of the most important questions you can ask yourself is this: what truly matters to me? Many people never pause long enough to answer this question honestly. They pursue goals because others expect them to. They chase achievements because society celebrates them. They follow paths because those paths appear popular. Eventually they reach certain milestones and discover they still feel unsatisfied. This happens because achievement alone does not create fulfillment. Meaning matters. Purpose matters. Alignment matters. They influence how you want to live. They influence how you want to contribute. They influence the type of person you want to become. When goals align with values, motivation becomes stronger and more sustainable. When goals conflict with values, progress often feels empty. This is why self-reflection is essential. Spend time examining what genuinely matters to you. Consider the areas of life that deserve your attention: your health, your character, your relationships, your knowledge, your contribution, your growth, your responsibilities. Ask yourself whether your daily actions reflect these priorities. Many people discover a gap between what they claim is important and where their attention actually goes. This realization can be uncomfortable. It can also be transformative. Once you recognize the gap, you can begin closing it. Another challenge many people face is pursuing too many goals at the same time. Ambition is valuable, but scattered ambition often creates frustration. Energy becomes divided. Attention becomes fragmented. Progress slows. A person attempts to improve every area of life simultaneously and ends up making little progress anywhere. Meaningful progress usually requires concentration. Choosing fewer priorities often produces greater results than attempting everything at once. This requires courage, because saying yes to one goal often means saying no to something else. Every commitment carries a cost. Time spent in one area cannot be spent elsewhere. Attention invested in one pursuit is unavailable for another. Wise individuals understand this principle. They choose carefully. They recognize that every decision shapes the future. Another important truth is that meaningful goals should challenge you without overwhelming you. A goal should stretch your abilities. It should encourage growth. It should require effort. At the same time, it should remain realistic enough to inspire action. Goals that are too small fail to inspire. Goals that seem impossible often create paralysis. The ideal goal creates engagement. It encourages progress while remaining connected to reality. Once a meaningful goal has been identified, clarity becomes essential. Vague goals create vague action. Clear goals create focused effort. Consider the difference between wanting a better future and defining what that future actually looks like. Specificity creates direction. Direction simplifies decision-making. The clearer the destination, the easier it becomes to determine the next step. Many people wait for complete certainty before committing to a goal. They want guarantees. They want perfect plans. They want assurance that every effort will succeed. Life rarely provides such certainty. Meaningful goals often require movement before every answer is available. Progress reveals information that planning alone cannot provide. Action creates clarity. Experience creates understanding. The person who begins often learns more than the person who endlessly prepares. Another powerful principle involves connecting daily activities to long-term objectives. Many goals fail because they remain distant and abstract. People think about future achievements, but struggle to connect those achievements to today's choices. The connection must become visible. A meaningful goal should influence daily behavior. If health is important, daily actions should reflect that priority. If learning is important, time should be dedicated to learning. If strong relationships are important, attention should be invested in those relationships. If personal growth is important, regular development should become part of life. Meaningful goals are not merely ideas. They become practical guides for daily living. One reason people lose focus is because immediate rewards often compete with meaningful progress. Comfort offers instant satisfaction. Entertainment offers immediate stimulation. Distraction offers temporary relief. Long-term goals often require patience. The rewards arrive later. This creates a challenge. The human mind naturally notices immediate pleasure more easily than distant benefits. Success requires remembering what matters most. A useful question can help during difficult decisions. Will this choice move me closer to the life I want to create? This question brings attention back to purpose. It encourages thoughtful decision-making. It helps separate meaningful actions from unnecessary distractions. Another obstacle to purposeful living is fear. Fear causes many people to aim lower than they should. They avoid meaningful goals because those goals carry uncertainty. They worry about failure. They worry about criticism. They worry about disappointment. As a result, they remain within familiar boundaries. Safety may reduce risk, but it can also limit growth. Meaningful goals often require courage, not reckless courage, thoughtful courage. The willingness to pursue something important despite uncertainty. Growth frequently exists beyond the limits of comfort. This is where many of life's most rewarding experiences are found. Another valuable practice is regularly reviewing your direction. Life changes. Circumstances evolve. Responsibilities shift. Experiences provide new insights. A goal that felt meaningful years ago may no longer reflect your current values. Periodic reflection helps maintain alignment. Ask yourself whether your current path still serves your deeper purpose. Ask whether your actions remain connected to what matters most. Adjust when necessary. Purposeful living requires flexibility alongside commitment. Another important lesson is recognizing that meaningful goals extend beyond personal achievement. Many people initially focus on goals that benefit only themselves. While personal improvement matters, fulfillment often expands when goals include contribution, helping others, sharing knowledge, supporting family, creating value, making a positive difference. People frequently discover that fulfillment grows when success is connected to service. The desire to contribute provides powerful motivation during difficult periods. It reminds you that your efforts matter beyond your own circumstances. Patience also plays a critical role. Meaningful goals rarely produce immediate transformation. Important accomplishments require time. Development unfolds gradually. Skills improve through repetition. Trust develops through consistency. Results emerge through sustained effort. Many people abandon worthwhile pursuits because progress appears slower than expected. It allows growth to unfold naturally. Every meaningful journey contains periods where results are not immediately visible. Continue moving forward anyway. Small actions accumulate. Consistent effort compounds. Time multiplies progress. Another important aspect of directing attention toward meaningful goals is protecting your mental energy. Not every problem deserves equal attention. Not every opinion deserves consideration. Not every opportunity deserves pursuit. Discerning individuals learn to filter information carefully. They recognize that attention is finite. They reserve their energy for what truly matters. This ability becomes increasingly important in a world filled with endless demands. The person who protects their attention protects their future. Because attention influences action. Action influences outcomes. Outcomes influence the quality of life. As you become more intentional with your focus, something remarkable begins to happen. Decision-making becomes easier. Priorities become clearer. Distractions lose some of their influence. Confidence increases because your actions align with your values. Life feels more purposeful because energy is invested intentionally. The future begins taking shape through deliberate choices rather than random circumstances. There will be periods when motivation weakens. The important thing is returning to what matters. Return to your values. Return to your purpose. Return to your priorities. Return to your goals. Each return strengthens direction. Each return reinforces commitment. Each return brings you closer to the life you are working to create. A meaningful life is rarely built through dramatic moments alone. It is built through thousands of daily decisions regarding where attention is placed. Every day provides a new opportunity to choose what deserves your focus. Choose carefully. Choose intentionally. Choose according to your values. Direct your attention toward goals that improve your character, strengthen your relationships, expand your knowledge, and deepen your contribution. When attention serves a meaningful purpose, life gains greater clarity. When life gains clarity, actions become more powerful. And when actions become more powerful, the future begins to reflect the very best of what you are capable of becoming. Chapter 9. Create positive decisions that shape better outcomes. Choosing a career, starting a business, committing to a relationship, moving to a new place, making a major financial commitment. These moments attract attention because their impact is easy to recognize. Yet many of the decisions that shape a person's future are far smaller. Choosing how to spend an hour, choosing how to respond to a challenge, choosing whether to continue learning, choosing how to manage money, choosing who to spend time with, choosing whether to act or postpone. These decisions often appear insignificant when viewed individually. However, when repeated over months and years, they create powerful results. A person's future is rarely created by one decision alone. It is created by thousands of decisions working together. This truth is both challenging and empowering. It is challenging because it means daily choices matter. It is empowering because it means positive change is always available. You may not be able to change yesterday's decisions. You can influence today's decisions. And today's decisions help shape tomorrow's outcomes. Many people spend considerable time thinking about what they want from life. They think about success, happiness, security, growth, and fulfillment. Yet far fewer people spend time examining the decision-making process that creates those outcomes. Results are often connected to choices. Financial stability is influenced by financial decisions. Strong relationships are influenced by relational decisions. Personal growth is influenced by learning decisions. Physical health is influenced by health-related decisions. Character is influenced by moral decisions. When choices improve, outcomes often improve as well. This does not mean life becomes perfectly predictable. Unexpected events will still occur. External circumstances will still play a role. However, better decisions increase the likelihood of better results. One reason people make poor decisions is that they focus too heavily on immediate feelings. A choice may feel good today while creating problems tomorrow. Comfort often attracts attention because it provides instant relief. A difficult task can be delayed. An uncomfortable responsibility can be avoided. A challenging conversation can be postponed. A commitment can be ignored. The immediate reward feels satisfying. The long-term consequences arrive later. Wise decision-making requires looking beyond the present moment. It requires asking a powerful question: what is the likely result of this choice? This question encourages long-term thinking. It helps you move beyond impulse. It shifts attention from temporary satisfaction toward lasting benefit. Imagine two paths. One path offers comfort now, but difficulty later. The other path requires effort now, but provides rewards later. Many valuable decisions belong to the second category. Learning requires effort before knowledge grows. Saving money requires restraint before security increases. Developing skills requires practice before mastery appears. Building trust requires consistency before strong relationships develop. Meaningful outcomes often require patience. This understanding strengthens decision-making. Another important principle involves recognizing that every decision carries consequences. Some consequences appear quickly, others emerge slowly. A person who consistently neglects responsibilities may not notice immediate damage. Over time, missed opportunities accumulate. A person who consistently invests in learning may not notice immediate transformation. Over time, knowledge expands. The direction of life gradually changes. Consequences are not punishments, they are natural results. Understanding this creates greater responsibility. You begin viewing decisions differently. You stop asking only what feels easiest. You begin asking what creates the best future. Another factor that influences decisions is environment. People often underestimate how strongly their surroundings affect their choices. A person surrounded by negativity may find positive decisions more difficult. A person surrounded by growth-oriented individuals often finds improvement easier. The people around you influence expectations. They influence standards. They influence habits. This is why selecting your environment carefully matters. You do not become exactly like the people around you. However, their attitudes and behaviors influence your thinking more than you may realize. Choose relationships that encourage growth. Choose conversations that expand perspective. Your environment should support good decisions rather than undermine them. Another challenge involves making decisions during emotional extremes. Strong emotions can distort judgment. Excitement can create unrealistic expectations. Anger can encourage regrettable actions. Fear can prevent necessary action. Discouragement can lead to unnecessary surrender. When emotions are intense, patience becomes valuable. Give yourself time. Allow perspective to return. A calm mind often notices factors that emotional reactions overlook. This simple practice prevents many unnecessary mistakes. Another useful principle is learning to distinguish between preference and priority. People often confuse what they want with what they truly need. Preferences are desirable. Priorities are essential. A person may prefer comfort. Growth may require effort. A person may prefer convenience. Responsibility may require discipline. A person may prefer immediate enjoyment. Long-term goals may require sacrifice. Understanding this distinction improves decision-making. Priorities deserve greater influence than temporary preferences. This perspective creates maturity. Mature decision-making is not about doing what feels best in the moment. It is about doing what serves your values and objectives. Another important lesson involves accepting responsibility for choices. Many people blame circumstances for outcomes that were significantly influenced by decisions. This mindset limits growth. When responsibility is avoided, improvement becomes difficult. Growth begins when ownership increases. Instead of focusing on blame, focus on learning. Ask yourself what can be improved. Ask yourself what can be done differently next time. Ask yourself what lesson exists within the experience. Learning transforms mistakes into valuable education. Every person makes poor decisions occasionally. No one is perfect. The goal is not perfection. The goal is improvement. People who learn from mistakes often gain wisdom that strengthens future decisions. Another characteristic of effective decision-makers is clarity regarding personal values. Values act like internal guides. They help determine what matters. They help simplify complex choices. When values are clear, decisions become easier. Consider a situation involving honesty. If honesty is a core value, the decision becomes clearer even when telling the truth is uncomfortable. Consider a situation involving responsibility. If responsibility is a core value, the appropriate action becomes easier to identify. Values provide stability during uncertainty. They help prevent decisions from being controlled solely by convenience or pressure. One practical exercise is evaluating decisions through a future perspective. Imagine yourself 1 year from today. Consider the choice in front of you. Ask a simple question: which decision will my future self appreciate most? This question creates distance from immediate emotions. It encourages wisdom. It helps align present actions with future goals. Future-focused thinking is a powerful tool because many important outcomes develop gradually. The person you become tomorrow is influenced by the decisions you make today. Another factor that strengthens positive decision-making is self-respect. People who respect themselves often make healthier choices. They value their time. They protect their energy. They honor their commitments. They avoid behaviors that undermine their well-being. Self-respect influences standards. Standards influence decisions. Decisions influence outcomes. This creates an important cycle. The more you act in ways that reflect self-respect, the stronger self-respect becomes. Another valuable habit is seeking information before making important decisions. Assumptions often lead to unnecessary mistakes. Careful observation creates better judgment. Gather facts. Ask questions. Learn from experience. Consider different perspectives. Thoughtful decisions are usually stronger than rushed decisions. Patience often saves time in the long run. Another lesson involves recognizing that indecision is also a decision. Many people avoid choosing because they fear making the wrong choice. They delay. They hesitate. They wait endlessly for certainty. Meanwhile, opportunities pass. Progress stalls. Sometimes movement creates more clarity than prolonged analysis. Thoughtful action often teaches lessons that endless thinking cannot provide. Courage plays an important role here, not reckless courage, measured courage, the willingness to move forward despite incomplete information. Many meaningful achievements require this quality. As life progresses, patterns begin to emerge. Certain decisions repeatedly create positive outcomes. Other decisions repeatedly create problems. Pay attention to these patterns. Learn from experience. Refine your judgment. Improve your standards. Wisdom grows through observation and reflection. Every decision becomes an opportunity to strengthen character. Every choice becomes a chance to align actions with values. Every moment offers an opportunity to move closer to the person you want to become. Positive decisions do not guarantee a perfect life. Challenges will still arise. Unexpected events will still occur. Difficult seasons will still appear. However, positive decisions increase your ability to navigate those challenges effectively. They strengthen your foundation. They create opportunities. They build trust. They support growth. They improve the quality of your relationships. They increase your confidence. They expand future possibilities. The cumulative effect is remarkable. A single positive decision may appear small. Repeated positive decisions create powerful momentum. One wise choice leads to another. One responsible action encourages another. One improvement creates additional improvements. Over time, your life begins reflecting the standards you practice consistently. The future is influenced by countless moments that seem ordinary while they are happening. A conversation, a commitment, a habit, a response, a choice. These moments matter. Treat them with care. Approach them with awareness. Allow your values to guide them. Allow your long-term vision to influence them. Allow wisdom to become stronger than impulse. Every day places decisions before you. Some will be small, some will be significant. All of them contribute to the direction of your life. Choose thoughtfully. Choose responsibly. Choose according to your highest principles. Because positive decisions create positive momentum. Positive momentum creates better outcomes. And better outcomes create a stronger, more meaningful, and more fulfilling life. Chapter 10. Commit to lifelong growth through conscious self-mastery. There comes a point in every meaningful journey when a person realizes that growth is not a destination. It is not a finish line waiting somewhere in the future. It is not a single achievement, a certain amount of money, a particular position, or a moment when all challenges suddenly disappear. It is a commitment to becoming better today than you were yesterday. It is the decision to continue learning when others stop learning. It is the willingness to improve when improvement is difficult. It is the understanding that your greatest competition is not another person. Your greatest challenge is becoming the highest version of yourself. Many people begin personal development with excitement. They read books, set goals, develop new habits, and make promises about the future. For a period of time, they feel energized. They experience progress. They see improvement. Then something interesting happens. They reach a level they once dreamed of reaching. A goal is accomplished. A problem is solved. A milestone is achieved. And suddenly a question appears. What happens now? Some people stop growing at this point because they mistakenly believe growth was only necessary until a certain objective was reached. Others discover a deeper truth. Every achievement opens the door to a new opportunity for development. Every lesson creates space for another lesson. Every victory reveals new areas where growth remains possible. This realization changes everything. Life becomes an ongoing process of refinement rather than a race toward a final destination. This mindset is the foundation of lifelong growth. A person committed to lifelong growth understands that improvement is not reserved for one season of life. Learning remains valuable regardless of age. Character remains important regardless of success. Wisdom remains worth pursuing regardless of experience. Growth never becomes unnecessary. In fact, the people who continue developing themselves often experience the greatest fulfillment because they remain engaged with life. They remain curious. They remain teachable. They remain open to new understanding. One of the greatest obstacles to lifelong growth is complacency. Complacency appears when a person becomes satisfied with their current level of development and stops challenging themselves. This does not mean gratitude is wrong. Being grateful for progress is important. Complacency is different. Complacency says there is no need to improve further. Complacency says learning can wait. Complacency says comfort is more important than growth. The danger of complacency is that life continues changing. New challenges emerge. New responsibilities appear. New opportunities require new skills. A person who stops growing eventually finds themselves unprepared for what comes next. This is why self-mastery requires continuous effort. Self-mastery is not control over other people. It is not influence over circumstances. It is not dominance over the world around you. Self-mastery is the ability to govern yourself wisely. It is the ability to align actions with values. It is the ability to maintain integrity regardless of conditions. It is the ability to direct your thoughts, behaviors, and choices toward what truly matters. Many people spend years trying to control things outside themselves. They try to control outcomes. They try to control other people's opinions. They try to control situations that are beyond their influence. They neglect the area where their greatest power exists, their own character. Conscious self-mastery begins with self-awareness. You cannot improve what you do not understand. You cannot strengthen qualities you refuse to examine. You cannot correct patterns you refuse to acknowledge. Self-awareness requires honesty. It requires looking at yourself clearly, not through the lens of excuses, not through the lens of self-criticism, but through the lens of truth. Ask yourself difficult questions. What strengths serve you well? What weaknesses continue creating problems? What habits support your future? What behaviors limit your potential? What values guide your decisions? What areas of life require greater attention? These questions create insight. Insight, creates opportunity. Opportunity creates growth. Another important aspect of self-mastery involves intentional living. Many people move through life reacting to circumstances. Their moods determine their actions. Their environment determines their behavior. Their routines develop accidentally rather than intentionally. Conscious living requires a different approach. It requires making decisions deliberately. It requires acting according to principles rather than impulses. It requires creating a life by design rather than by default. This does not happen automatically. It requires regular reflection. Take time to evaluate your direction. Examine your progress. Consider your priorities. Review your actions honestly. Ask whether your daily behavior reflects the person you want to become. Small adjustments made consistently can create remarkable long-term results. Another powerful principle is remaining a student throughout life. Many people stop learning once formal education ends. They assume growth is complete. Yet some of the most valuable lessons are learned outside traditional classrooms. Life itself becomes a teacher. Experiences become teachers. Challenges become teachers. Relationships become teachers. Failures become teachers. Successes become teachers. Every day contains information for those willing to learn. The willingness to remain teachable creates extraordinary advantages. A teachable person adapts more effectively. They improve more quickly. They avoid unnecessary mistakes. They continue expanding their understanding. Knowledge accumulates over time. Wisdom deepens through application. Growth continues because learning never stops. Another element of self-mastery involves managing your relationship with success. Success can be beneficial. It can provide opportunities. It can increase influence. It can create security. Yet success can also become dangerous when it leads to arrogance. Some individuals stop listening once they achieve a certain level of accomplishment. They stop evaluating themselves honestly. They stop seeking improvement. They become resistant to feedback. Growth slows. Self-mastery requires humility. Humility is not thinking less of yourself. It is recognizing that there is always more to learn. It is understanding that no one becomes perfect. It is remaining open to improvement, regardless of current achievement. Humility protects growth. Another important lesson is understanding that self-mastery is demonstrated through consistency rather than occasional excellence. Anyone can perform well occasionally. Anyone can make a good decision once. Anyone can show discipline for a short period. Character is revealed through repetition. What you do consistently matters more than what you do occasionally. The person who practices honesty consistently develops trustworthiness. The person who behaves responsibly consistently develops reliability. The person who pursues improvement consistently develops excellence. Self-mastery grows through repeated alignment between values and actions. Another challenge on the path of lifelong growth is dealing with comfort. Comfort is pleasant. Comfort feels safe. Comfort often feels earned. Yet comfort can quietly reduce ambition. It can weaken curiosity. It can discourage development. Growth frequently requires stepping beyond familiar limits. This does not mean seeking difficulty unnecessarily. It means remaining willing to learn, adapt, and stretch your abilities. When opportunities appear, embrace them. When challenges arise, learn from them. When new experiences become available, consider them thoughtfully. Life rewards those who remain open to development. Another valuable practice is creating periods of reflection. Modern life is often noisy. People move quickly from one responsibility to another. They remain constantly occupied. As a result, they rarely pause long enough to evaluate their direction. Reflection creates clarity. It allows lessons to be extracted from experience. It allows priorities to be examined. It allows growth to become intentional. Even a few quiet moments spent reviewing your day can create valuable insight. Ask yourself simple questions. What went well today? What could be improved? What lesson did I learn? What should I focus on tomorrow? These questions encourage continual improvement. Self-mastery also involves developing inner stability. Life will continue changing. Circumstances will fluctuate. Unexpected situations will arise. External conditions are never fully predictable. A person who depends entirely on favorable circumstances often struggles when challenges appear. A person who develops inner stability remains grounded despite change. This stability comes from values. It comes from self-respect. It comes from integrity. It comes from knowing who you are and what you stand for. When these foundations are strong, external turbulence becomes easier to navigate. Another important aspect of lifelong growth is contribution. Growth becomes more meaningful when it benefits others. Knowledge becomes more valuable when shared. Experience becomes more valuable when used to help others. Wisdom becomes more valuable when it creates positive impact. As you continue developing yourself, look for opportunities to contribute. Encourage someone. Share what you have learned. Offer guidance. Provide value. Leave people better than you found them. Contribution gives growth a deeper purpose. It transforms personal development into meaningful service. As years pass, many people discover an important truth. The greatest rewards of self-mastery are often internal. Achievements matter. Success matters. Accomplishments matter. Yet deeper rewards emerge as well. Greater peace, stronger character, clearer judgment, deeper confidence, improved relationships, a stronger sense of purpose. These rewards cannot always be measured, yet they profoundly influence the quality of life. They create fulfillment that external achievements alone cannot provide. The journey of self-mastery is not about becoming perfect. Perfection is not the objective. The objective is progress. The objective is awareness. The objective is continual refinement. There will always be areas to improve. There will always be lessons to learn. There will always be opportunities to grow. This is not a weakness. It is one of life's greatest gifts, because it means every day offers a chance to become better. Every challenge offers an opportunity to develop strength. Every experience offers wisdom. Every decision offers a chance to align more closely with your values. The person you become is shaped through these daily moments, not through grand declarations, not through occasional inspiration, but through consistent commitment. Commitment to learning, commitment to growth, commitment to character, commitment to wisdom, commitment to self-mastery. As you continue forward, remember that growth is not something you complete. It is something you practice. It is a lifelong commitment to becoming the best version of yourself, a commitment to greater awareness, a commitment to better choices, a commitment to deeper understanding, a commitment to living intentionally. When you embrace this path, life becomes more than a series of achievements. It becomes a journey of continual development. And in that journey, you discover one of the most powerful truths a person can learn. The greatest world you will ever lead is the one within yourself. Master that world, and you place yourself in the strongest possible position to create a meaningful, purposeful, and fulfilling life.